Hello everybody. Today in Pronunciation Matters I'm going to introduce a new topic. This time we're going to speak about consonantal allophones. We all know that sounds influence each other and they are modified by the neighboring sounds that surround them. And the result of this influence is what we describe as consonantal allophones. The first consonantal allophone I'm going to describe is devoicing. The symbol that represents devoicing is the letter C, which stands for consonant, between square brackets, which stand for allophone, and the diacritic, which is a circle representing the open glottis. Devoicing affects all voiced consonants which have a voiceless counterpart, and it consists of removing some voicing from the originally voiced sound. This occurs because the vocal folds start vibrating after the sound begins to be produced or stop vibrating before we complete the pronunciation of the sound. This occurs when the voiced consonants are preceded or followed by silence, as is the case in the examples I present here, and it also affects voiced consonants which are preceded or followed by voiceless sounds. In all cases, it's a question of when the vocal folds start or stop vibrating. Another consonantal allophone is aspiration, which is represented by the symbol of the consonant, again the C that stands for consonant between square brackets, and a small letter H, which represents the small puff of air that is perceived at the onset of the vowel. Aspiration affects voiceless plosives when they are initial in stressed position in the syllable, and it is an extra puff of air that we perceive at the onset of the vowel that follows the plosive. This occurs because the release stage of the plosive causes a delay in the vibration of the vocal folds. Aspiration also affects the approximants that follow the voiceless plosives initial in stressed position, and this is what we call devoicing because of aspiration, because when the approximants follow voiceless plosives initial in stressed position in a syllable, they are devoiced. We represent this by the symbol of two consonants between square brackets, and the second consonant has the diacritic of devoicing because the sound is produced with some removement of the voicing at its onset. Another allophonic variant of consonants is inaudible release, which affects plosives, all plosives, when they are followed by a stop. That means when they are followed by either another plosive or an affricate. We represent this allophonic variant with the letter C that stands for consonant with an angle which shows that the release stage of the plosive is not heard. This happens when the plosive is followed by a stop. The third stage of the plosive, that is the release stage, is not heard because by the moment we should release the air, we are already preparing the organs of speech for the production of the following stop. So the air is not released. If the sounds are heterorganic, we change the position of the articulators. When the inaudible release affects homoorganic sounds, the release stage is delayed until we release the air for the second sound. Again, the release stage of the first consonant is not heard. Nasal release is represented by the letter C between square brackets and the letter N that stands for nasalization. When plosives are followed by nasal sounds, the release stage of the plosive is produced through the nasal tract. We lower the soft palate in the production of the nasal, and then the air escapes through the nose. Lateral release affects only alveolar consonants, alveolar plosives, when they are followed by the lateral approximant. The symbol that represents this consonantal allophone is the letter C with a letter L following. This means that the release stage of the plosive is produced through one or both sides of the tongue, which are lowered for the production of the lateral approximant. Another consonantal allophone is syllabic value of consonants, which is represented by a little dash below the letter C between the square brackets, and this implies that the consonant takes on the value of syllabic nucleus. It affects the lateral, nasal sounds, and the postalveolar consonant. And what happens is that the consonant takes longer to be produced because it becomes the nucleus of the syllable. Dental assimilation is represented by the diacritic, which is a little tooth drawn below the consonant, and it affects alveolar consonants when they are followed by dental fricatives. What we do is that the tongue does not articulate with the teeth ridge, but with the upper teeth, anticipating the production of the dental consonant that follows. Postalveolar assimilation is represented with a minus sign below the consonant because this consonantal allophone affects the alveolar plosives when they are followed by the postalveolar consonant. And so the production of the articulation of the alveolar plosives is not produced against the teeth ridge, but a bit retracted. And that is why it is represented with the minus sign. Um, Labiodental assimilation affects the alveolar and bilabial nasals when they are followed by the labiodental fricative. It is an instance of assimilation of place, and what we do is to articulate the nasals with the upper teeth and the lower lip. Labialization is the consonantal allophone, which affects all consonants which are followed by the labial velar approximant. And what we do is to round our lips in preparation for the production of the following labial velar approximant. I want to thank especially Maria Isabel Recamam, who in her book English Phonetics Segmentals described these consonantal allophones in a very didactic way to help students at the teacher education program to understand how sounds are influenced by their neighboring sounds in the stream of speech. And this has helped students to improve their pronunciation through the transcription of texts and the reflection on the influence that different sounds have on some other. Um, Thank you very much, and we are going to meet in another video to discuss the different kinds of consonants.